Eminem. The name alone sparks debate. From the moment he burst onto the scene, he's been a polarizing figure, a man who's never shied away from controversy. His music, his lyrics, his very persona have been dissected, analyzed, and criticized by fans and detractors alike. To some, he's a lyrical genius, a wordsmith extraordinaire. His ability to weave complex narratives and intricate rhymes has earned him a place among the greatest rappers of all time. His songs are more than just music. They're stories, poems, and social commentaries all rolled into one. To others, he's a walking controversy, a lightning rod for outrage. His lyrics have been accused of being misogynistic, homophobic, and violent. He's been sued, protested, and banned from radio stations. Yet, he remains unapologetic, standing by his art and his right to free expression. But one thing's for sure, Eminem doesn't care. He's never been one to bow to public pressure or change his style to fit the mainstream. He's always been true to himself, even when it's cost him fans, friends, and opportunities. He's been spitting fire for decades, ignoring the haters and racking up awards. From Grammy wins to chart-topping albums, his career is a testament to his talent and tenacity. He's faced more than his fair share of obstacles, but he's always come out on top. He's like that annoying kid in the back of class, always shouting the things nobody else will say. He's the one who challenges authority, questions the status quo, and refuses to be silenced. And while he may rub some people the wrong way, there's no denying that he's got something important to say. And people listen. Why? Because he's good, damn good. His flow is impeccable, his delivery is powerful, and his stage presence is electrifying. He's a master of his craft, and it shows in every performance. Eminem's mastery of language is undeniable. He's a poet in the truest sense of the word, using his lyrics to paint vivid pictures and convey deep emotions. His songs are filled with clever wordplay, double entendres, and metaphors that make you think long after the music stops. His rhymes are intricate, his flow is relentless, and his punchlines hit you like a right hook to the jaw. He's got a way of turning a phrase that's both clever and impactful, leaving listeners in awe of his skill. Love him or hate him, you can't deny his talent. He's a force to be reckoned with, a true artist who's never been afraid to push the boundaries of what's acceptable in music. He's a trailblazer, a pioneer, and a legend in his own right. He's a cultural phenomenon, a rap god who rose from the ashes of Detroit to conquer the world. His story is one of rags to riches, a testament to the power of perseverance and self-belief. He's inspired countless artists and fans with his journey, proving that anything is possible if you're willing to work for it. But with great power comes great responsibility, right? Or at least that's what they say. Eminem's influence extends far beyond the music industry. He's a cultural icon whose impact can be felt in fashion, film, and even politics. His words have the power to inspire, provoke, and challenge the status quo. Eminem, however, seems to have missed that memo. He's never been one to play it safe or conform to societal expectations. He's always been a rebel, a maverick who marches to the beat of his own drum. And while that's earned him plenty of critics, it's also what makes him so compelling. He's made a career out of pushing boundaries, challenging conventions, and saying the things everyone else is afraid to think. His music is a reflection of his unfiltered thoughts and emotions, a raw and honest portrayal of his life and experiences. And that's precisely why he's so captivating. He's not afraid to be vulnerable, to show his flaws and insecurities. He's a real person, not just a persona. And that authenticity resonates with his fans. He's a walking contradiction, a paradox wrapped in a hoodie. He's both a hero and a villain, a savior and a sinner. He's a man of many layers, and each one is more fascinating than the last. He's the guy your parents warned you about, the one who makes you laugh and cringe in equal measure. He's got a wicked sense of humor, but he's also not afraid to tackle serious issues head-on. His music is a roller coaster of emotions, taking you from laughter to tears and back again. But that's the beauty of Eminem. He's a mirror reflecting our own complexities, our own inner conflicts. He's a reminder that we're all a little bit messy, a little bit flawed, and that's okay. He's a mirror reflecting our own complexities, our own inner conflicts. His music forces us to confront our own demons, to question our beliefs and assumptions. He's a provocateur, a truth teller, and a poet all rolled into one. He's a reminder that sometimes it's okay to laugh at the things that make us uncomfortable. His music is a safe space where we can explore the darker sides of ourselves without judgment. He's a master of his craft, and his legacy will continue to inspire and challenge us for years to come. From the moment he burst onto the scene, Eminem was a target. His lyrics, raw and unapologetic, sent shockwaves through the media. Parents clutched their pearls, politicians called for his head, and Tipper Gore was probably adding his albums to her next hit list. He was accused of being everything from misogynistic to homophobic to just plain offensive. But amidst the outrage, something interesting happened. People listened, they bought his albums, they packed his concerts. They couldn't get enough. He became a symbol of rebellion, a voice for the voiceless, a middle finger to the establishment. He was speaking to a generation that felt unseen, unheard, and misunderstood. His music, for all its shock value, resonated with a certain angst, a certain frustration that many felt but couldn't articulate. He was angry, yes, but it was an anger that felt earned, an anger that spoke to a deeper truth. The more the media tried to silence him, the louder his fans screamed his name. He became a cultural icon, a symbol of free speech, a walking, talking testament to the idea that art should provoke, challenge, and maybe even piss you off a little. He was proof that sometimes the most controversial figures are the ones who have the most important things to say. Not so fast. As the years passed, something strange began to happen. The outrage subsided. The media, once eager to paint him as a monster, started to sing his praises. He won awards, broke records, and even starred in a movie about his life. He had become, dare we say it, respectable. Had Eminem finally mellowed out? Had the bad boy of rap finally grown up? Don't bet on it. Just when everyone thought they had him figured out, Eminem pulled a Houdini and disappeared. He retreated from the public eye, leaving fans and critics alike wondering what happened to the firebrand who once set the world ablaze. Had he finally succumbed to the pressure? Had the weight of his own controversy finally crushed him? The answer, as always with Eminem, is more complicated than that. Then, like a thief in the night, he dropped it. Houdini, a new track, hit the airwaves like a sonic boom, and just like that, Slim Shady was back. The song is classic Eminem sharp lyrics, a driving beat, and enough venom to kill a small army of critics. But this time, there's something different. There's a weariness in his voice, a sense of frustration that goes beyond the usual anger. He's older now, wiser perhaps, but the fire still burns. He's not just angry at the world anymore. He's angry at himself, at his legacy, at the constant scrutiny that follows his every move. Houdini is more than just a song. It's a statement. It's Eminem's way of saying, I'm still here, I'm still angry, and I'm not going anywhere. It's a reminder that he's not afraid to disappear, to reinvent himself, to keep the world guessing. And most importantly, it's a giant middle finger to the cancel culture vultures who thought they could silence him. Unmasking the critics. Are they right or just out of touch? Eminem's critics are quick to point out the problematic aspects of his music. They argue that his lyrics are often offensive, misogynistic, and homophobic. They claim that he glorifies violence and promotes harmful stereotypes, and they're not entirely wrong. Eminem's music can be brutal, uncomfortable, and downright offensive at times. But that's the point, isn't it? Art isn't always supposed to be pretty. Sometimes it needs to be ugly, confrontational, and raw. Eminem's music is a reflection of the dark underbelly of society, the parts we'd rather not talk about. He's not glorifying violence, he's exposing it. He's not endorsing hate, he's holding up a mirror to it. To dismiss his work as simply offensive is to miss the point entirely. It's to ignore the social commentary, the satire, and the raw emotion that fuels his art. It's like refusing to acknowledge a hurricane because you don't like the wind. In defense of Slim Y, Eminem's art matters. Eminem's music, for all its flaws, is important. It's important because it makes us uncomfortable. It forces us to confront the ugliness that exists in the world, the ugliness that we often try to ignore. It's important because it gives a voice to the voiceless, to the marginalized, to the people who feel like they don't fit in. It's important because it reminds us that art doesn't have to be safe. It doesn't have to be politically correct. It doesn't have to make us feel good. Sometimes, the most powerful art is the art that challenges us, that makes us think, that makes us question our own beliefs. And that's what Eminem does better than anyone. He's a provocateur, an agitator, a master of pushing boundaries. He's the guy who says the things we're all thinking but are too afraid to say out loud. And in a world that's increasingly obsessed with being politically correct, that's a precious and necessary thing. The price of freedom, Eminem, and the cancel culture debate. Eminem's career has been a constant battle against cancel culture. He's been boycotted, protested, and condemned by everyone from politicians to parent-teacher associations. But through it all, he's remained defiant, refusing to apologize for his art or censor himself to appease his critics. And that's what makes him such a fascinating figure in the age of cancel culture. He represents a kind of artistic freedom that's becoming increasingly rare. In a world where everyone is afraid of saying the wrong thing, Eminem is a refreshing reminder that sometimes it's okay to offend, to provoke, to make people uncomfortable. Of course, there's a difference between being intentionally offensive and simply expressing yourself freely. But Eminem has always walked that line with a certain self-awareness, a wink and a nod that suggests he's in on the joke. He's not just trying to get a rise out of people. He's trying to start a conversation, to make us think about the things we'd rather ignore. And that's a conversation we desperately need to have. Walking the tightrope. Can Eminem's legacy survive the relentless march of cancel culture? It's a question that has no easy answer. On the one hand, Eminem's influence on music and pop culture is undeniable. He's one of the best-selling artists of all time, and his music has inspired countless other artists. On the other hand, his critics are becoming increasingly vocal, and the court of public opinion is notoriously fickle. It's possible that as society evolves, Eminem's music will be seen as increasingly outdated and offensive. Or maybe, just maybe, his willingness to confront difficult issues head-on will make his work even more relevant in the years to come. Only time will tell. One thing's for sure, Eminem's story is far from over. He's still out there somewhere, plotting his next move, crafting his next rhyme, waiting for the perfect moment to unleash his next masterpiece on an unsuspecting world. And when he does, you can bet it'll be controversial, thought-provoking, and utterly captivating. Beyond the headlines and the controversies, Eminem represents something more profound, something that resonates deeply with a generation that came of age in a time of uncertainty and rapid change. He's a symbol of resilience, of overcoming adversity, of rising above your circumstances to achieve greatness. His music, for all its anger and aggression, is ultimately a story of hope. It's a story about finding your voice, speaking your truth, and never giving up on your dreams, no matter how difficult the road ahead may seem. For many, Eminem's music is more than just entertainment. It's a lifeline, a source of strength, a way of connecting with others who feel like they don't belong. It's a reminder that sometimes the most powerful weapon you have is your voice. As Eminem continues to evolve, the question remains, can the magic last? Can he continue to push boundaries and challenge conventions without becoming a caricature of himself? It's a difficult balance to strike, but if anyone can do it, it's Eminem. He's proven time and again that he's a master of reinvention, of keeping his audience guessing, of staying one step ahead of the curve. Perhaps the key to his longevity lies in his willingness to evolve, to experiment, to never rest on his laurels. He's not afraid to try new things, to collaborate with unexpected artists, to explore different sounds and styles. And as long as he continues to do that, as long as he continues to challenge himself and his audience, there's no reason why the magic can't last. It's clear that Eminem's ambitions extend far beyond music. He's a savvy businessman, a talented actor, and a passionate advocate for social justice. He's used his platform to raise awareness about issues like poverty, addiction, and mental health. He's mentored other artists, given back to his community, and used his voice to speak out against injustice. Eminem understands that his influence extends far beyond the world of music. He knows that he has a responsibility to use his platform to make a difference, to leave the world a better place than he found it. And that's perhaps the most enduring legacy of Slim Shady, the realization that even the most controversial figures can use their power for good. So, here's to Eminem, the master of controversy, the king of hip-hop, the man who taught us that it's okay to be different, to be angry, to be ourselves. He may not be everyone's cup of tea, but there's no denying his impact. He's changed the face of music, challenged our perceptions of art, and sparked conversations that continue to this day. Love him or hate him, you can't ignore him. He's a force of nature, a one-man cultural phenomenon, and he's not going anywhere anytime soon. So buckle up because the ride's just getting started.